League's regular season just a week away now, but Kyrie Irving may have to sit out roughly half of all games because of a local vaccine mandate. And the Brooklyn Nets appear to be coming to terms with the possibility.
I think we recognize he's not playing in home games, so yeah, we are going to have to for sure play without him this year. So it just depends on when, where, and how much.
Under New York City rules, everybody must prove they've received at least one COVID vaccine dose to enter indoor gyms. That includes Barclays Center, the Nets' home arena. If Kyrie Irving remains unvaccinated, the decision could cost him millions of dollars. Here's CNBC's Perry Russum.
Kyrie Irving has been the face of vaccine hesitancy in the NBA, forcing the Brooklyn Nets to game plan for life without one of their stars.
I think we're still trying to process all the possibilities, and that might take us some time.
The seven-time All-Star last publicly spoke about his vaccination status a week and a half ago.
We'd love to just keep that private and, handle it the right way with my team and go forward.
Irving did practice with the team over the weekend after it was ruled the Nets' practice facility was private property, not falling under New York City's vaccine rules.
How big of a deal is this that Kyrie Irving cannot play in home games?
It's a major deal for the league.
Shams Charania from The Athletic says Irving could miss a total of 43 games in the regular season, all of the home games and the games against the New York Knicks. The Washington Post reports it could cost him more than $16 million in fines.
How quickly do you think the NBA wants this whole thing with Kyrie to be wrapped up?
There's no question for everyone involved, the quicker this is resolved, the better. But, obviously there is no resolution right now.
One of the most vocal players against getting vaccinated has been Andrew Wiggins. Like Irving, the Golden State Warrior would have missed every home game. He says he felt forced to take the shot.
It came down to get the vaccination or don't play basketball.
LeBron James recently confirming he has been vaccinated, but held back from advising others.
I don't feel like, for me personally, that I should get involved in what other people should do for their bodies and their livelihoods. It would be me talking about somebody if they should, take this job or not.
Still not clear why Irving won't get vaccinated. He keeps talking about his privacy, but never says exactly why he won't get vaccinated. More and more players are taking the shot. A league source tells us 96% of NBA players are now vaccinated. We are 1 week away from opening night, Chet.
Perry Russum, live tonight in Boston. Thank you.
Nobody on the Brooklyn Nets averaged more points per game last year than Kyrie Irving. And according to Las Vegas, they are the favorites to win the NBA title this season. Those odds could change if Kyrie can't play in Brooklyn.
That's on Kyrie, and that's his personal decision. What he does is not on us to speculate what may happen. But we trust in Kyrie, and I expect us to have our whole team at some point.
I'll be there every day, no matter what, and, just be present for my teammates.
And, of course, Kyrie is actually expected to be with the Nets as they start camp in California this week and won't be in Brooklyn until October 8th. And that's when things, could come to a head here. This is something that hasn't been resolved, but clearly will have to be resolved within the next week or so.
It sure will. Wow. Here I was thinking you're coming out here to talk about how well the Yankees are doing.
We need some positivity, and the Yankees are the only positive thing in sports right now.
Best story in town.
They are.
We'll see you at 6 o'clock.
Yes, I promise it's coming.
With highlights, hopefully.
If you could sit down with Kyrie Irving, what would you tell him?
I'd tell him to get vaccinated, first and foremost, for himself and his family. Next, for his teammates and his community, and also for the league that I know he cares so much about. I understand, that it's not just Kyrie. There are people in this country who disagree with the notion of getting vaccinated. But at least from everything that I understand, science is firmly on the side of getting vaccinated. And this is, in essence, a miracle vaccine. Think where we were, Ernie. When we first stopped this season and we all spoke, and then when we went into the bubble and we started last season, and then this vaccine came along, and it's already saved tens of millions of lives. And I think at some point, for Kyrie to be an engaged member of society, putting aside this league, he needs to get vaccinated. And that's, you said, that's the law in New York. And the law in New York is if you want to play in an arena, if you want to visit an arena, you want to participate in an activity in an arena, you need to be vaccinated. And that's where he finds himself, and that's where we are as a league. And here I am in Milwaukee, where after we give out the rings tonight, the Bucks will be playing the Nets. And I wish you were here.
I get to do whatever I want with this. This is one body that I get here, one God body that I get here. And you telling me what to do with my body. It has nothing to do with the Nets. It has nothing to do with my teammates. This has everything to do with what's going on in our world. And I'm being grouped in to something that's bigger than just a game of basketball. Just know I'm rocking with all those that have lost their jobs to this mandate. And I'm rocking with all those that chose to get vaccinated and are choosing to be safe as well. I'm on both sides of all this. It's not about being anti-vax or about being on one side or the other. Like it's just really about being true to what feels good for me. I'm still uncertain about a lot of things, and that's okay. If I'm going to be demonized for having more questions and taking my time to make a decision with my life, then that's just what it is. Basketball is like a religion. Entertainment is like a religion to people. They get so caught up emotionally. It's just like, yo, effing get vaccinated or just leave. We angry at what you're doing, man. And it's just like, nah, that's like, what are you talking about? I'm a human being. I have emotions. I have feelings. I have thoughts. Pay attention to what's going on out in the real world. People are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect. And I don't want to sit here and play on people's emotions either. Just use logic. If you felt uncomfortable going into the season when you were promised that you would have exemptions or that you didn't have to be forced to get the vaccine, this wasn't an issue before the season started. This wasn't something that I foresaw coming, where I prepared for it. It's crazy times we're in. It's crazy times. How many people are really thinking with a balanced view? How many people are really thinking about the future of what's going on? We just came out of one of the craziest pandemics of all time, and you telling me to think rationally. How many people are really thinking rationally? Because it's going to continue to revolve around this and that, and you're going to lose out on money, and you're going to lose out on this. So what? It's not about the money, baby. It's not always about the money. It's about choosing what's best for you. You think I really want to lose money? You think I really want to give up on my dream to go after a championship? You think I really just want to give up my job? You think I really just want to sit at home and not go after the things with my teammates that I've been able to grow with, to learn with?
At the beginning of the season, he was ready to play. And then due to municipalities, things had changed. And I think one of the things that kind of elevated the conversation yesterday, Stephen A., was that everybody wants Kyrie Irving to be on their timeline. They want him to be on their timetable. Well, he's not answering things fast enough. And as much as we're talking about the past history, and look, that's a completely different conversation, Stephen A., I am with you. There are a lot of questionable decisions. I'm sitting up here with a Duke Brotherhood jacket on. I've been objective on your platform and others about some of the decisions Kyrie has made, right? But I think as it relates to this particularly, I think this is an unprecedented matter. And I'm okay with Kyrie taking his time to make this decision. He never said he was anti-vax. He never said he was pro-vax. He's saying he's trying to figure it out. Once again, I think there is something important about somebody trying to take their time to figure this out. You can go and talk to me about science and all the other things. I just think it's important for Kyrie to do what Kyrie needs to do for Kyrie to make the best decision. But it does feel like he has become the face of how people want to chastise those who are unvaccinated. And that's what happens when people who feel like they are being spoken to through the prism of Kyrie Irving, that creates this snowball effect. And I think that's what happens when there's venom that's being thrown.
Here's the thing. The thing is that the whole IG Live, from my point of view, was when he went from, talking about he was doing research, right, before he did his IG Live, and then he went to talking about he's been the voice for the voiceless, and then he comes on the IG Live and says, he still loved the game of basketball. He's not retiring. You know what it's setting it up for? It's setting it up for when he does get vaccinated and he comes back to the Brooklyn Nets, he won't look hypocritical. That's what it's setting it up for. That's what that IG Live was for yesterday.
He's painted himself as a victim because he is willing to stand up for his individual rights. He didn't know. One thing he said that was very important that I actually side with him with. He came in, he worked out, he was ready to play, he was in shape, he was ready to go for the season, and then the mandate came down from New York City. I think right now it's in New York, LA, San Francisco. I think there's another city. I think maybe New Orleans or somebody, but I'm not sure. But the point is that that's it. And there is a legitimate question as to why all these other cities haven't adopted the same mandate and stuff, but that's a subject for another day. When he said that the mandate came down, he didn't know that he wouldn't be able to play. They were initially told that they would be able to play even if they were not vaccinated. They would just have to go through extensive testing. He was fine with that. Here's where it ultimately becomes a problem. Number one, when you were talking to some kids in the off season, you weren't wearing a mask. When you were partying with your sister during the NBA season, when the NBA had strongly discouraged all of that excessive contact because we were still going through the pandemic and things were so up in the air and stuff like that, you didn't listen to that. And then we have to take into account, again, the history that I brought up. It's one thing after another after another. And the biggest thing for me is when you're gone for 10 months and 2 weeks in, you suddenly need a personal day after being off for 10 months. I don't know how much more glaring that can be. So listen, I've spoken to family members. I have spoken to, cats that are really, really close to him in the NBA, including coaches. I mean, Kyrie's got a lot of love, and it's well-deserved because he's actually not a bad guy at all. But here's the problem, Jay, and I'm coming directly to you with this. Mm-hmm. There is an air about Kyrie that intellectually, in his mind, he's here. And those who disagree with him are here. And when he talks, he sees himself as being totally right. And in the end, it comes down to being just about him. And my response to that is, nah, bro, not when you've assembled what you assembled in Brooklyn. Forget the vaccine for a second. You assembled this. You and I both know, Jay, KP, myself, we know a bunch of brothers in the NBA, Molly, that wanted no parts of the vaccine. They did not want to take it.
I didn't want to take the vaccine,
exactly.
but I felt I had to.
I told you, you're right. But what I'm saying is, there's a whole bunch of people that didn't want to take it, but they took it because they understood what the responsibility was, and they knew they weren't going to be able to play or it was going to be very inconvenient for them if they didn't play. And I'm saying, if you brought the team together, that's my issue. He brought them together, and he ain't there.
Here in the NBA, according to reports, Kyrie Irving could lose more than $15 million this season if he is unable to participate in home games due to his vaccination status. The Nets star has asked for privacy from the media while he deals with this situation. But meanwhile, in Golden State, Andrew Wiggins opened up to the media about his decision to get the vaccine. Wiggins told reporters, quote, the only options were to get vaccinated or not play in the NBA. It was a tough decision. Hopefully it works out in the long run. And in 10 years, I'm still healthy. So, Shannon, what is your reaction to all this right now?
It wasn't a tough decision. It was very clear. Lose 20 million, $20 million, or get vaccinated. Skip, it's really not a tough decision. And I get it. America, great. Freedom of choice, freedom of press, but that doesn't mean it's without freedom of consequences. Now, you have a choice. I choose not to get vaccinated, but what are the consequences? 15, 20 million? Simple as that. I'm not finna go back and forth with Andrew Wiggins. You knew the rules. The NBA wants all its players to get vaccinated. But in Golden State, the Chase Building, also in Jersey, Brooklyn, Barclays Center, if you are unvaccinated, you are not allowed to enter the building if you play for them or you work in that building. It's as simple as that. Now, Kyrie now is the face because before it was two guys. It was Andrew Wiggins because he played for the Warriors. He was up under that umbrella. Now Kyrie plays for the Brooklyn Nets, Barclays Center. He's under the umbrella. So now Kyrie Irving is the face of of this. Kyrie Irving has always been, since he's been in the NBA, and I've been able to study about him, he's always been a go against the grain, a different...
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's square, and they're UFOs.
Yep.
So I'm going to see, we're going to find out just how devout he is in this. Now, I saw what Muhammad Ali did. He said, I go to jail, but I ain't going fighting no Viet Cong. I'm not going over there. And the Supreme Court intervened. Well, unless Kyrie Irving gets the Supreme Court to intervene, I don't see how he gets around this, Skip. And so we're about to find out, Kyrie Irving, do you really, really believe this, or are you grandstanding? Choice is yours, bro. Your choice. I'm just glad there are not more people like Kyrie. Because just imagine, Skip, if everybody did everything that was always in just their best interest, wasn't in the best interest of anyone else but themselves.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes I think we're like that in America anyway, Skip, given how dire things look at sometimes.
Yep.
But for the most part, I like to think that we do things in the betterment.
Yep.
Because the vaccine is not only for you, it's for those around you. You're protecting people around you. Kyrie just had a newborn recently. How much you want to bet they get vaccinated? He got vaccinated. The baby got vaccinated. Can't have it both ways.
No.
And people talk about, well, mandate, Skip, mandates have been for the vaccine. Skip, has been, you got them, I got them. They're still required. Sometimes I think, Skip, I remember when vaccinations wasn't political. And sometimes I think this is what this has become. This is what this is, Skip, because they've always had measles and chicken and rubella and pertussis. They've always had those, Skip.
I mean, you didn't have a choice. When you were born, you just took them because that's what our society had deemed was the best for our society.
You didn't have to take them, but you wasn't going to school without them.
You weren't going to school.
You get homeschooled,
Yep.
so Kyrie, you could just play out. Now, the Brooklyn Nets going to have to make a decision, Skip.
Yep.
Really, it's them. Because I believe they want to put a max guarantee on the table, but there's no way, I don't believe Brooklyn Nets is going to give him a max guarantee, Skip,
Yeah.
if he can only play 41 games a season. And then if they make the playoffs, which I believe
Yeah.
they will, even with James Harden and just KD, they're a playoff team. They're a 1-2 seed, even with just those two guys. And then now I don't get him for the home playoff games.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. So at some point in time, guess what? We're going to give you all the privacy you want. But I guarantee if Kyrie played in that building, guess what? All Kyrie did was just filibuster. Because he's going to get that vaccine or he's not playing. It's really that simple.
It is that simple. All right. I hugely appreciate every word you just uttered. I'm going to start with Andrew Wiggins. Have a lot of respect for him. Bright young man. But I think he's misguided in his thinking. That's just me.
Yeah.
I think you believe the same thing.
I do.
So he is now saying he was forced to get vaccinated.
No, what?
He was not forced to. This is still the land of the free. This is not a fascist state. If he really, really wanted to, he could have gone home.
Thank you.
He said nobody else in his family is vaccinated because his family does not believe in vaccinations. Fine. You have a choice. You can go home. You can leave all that money on the table. He'd be scheduled to make $32 million this year. He's made in his career $106 million.
Yeah.
But he said he chose to go ahead and accept the vaccination because he wanted to continue to create generational wealth for his kids, and he has two and would like to have another. Okay, great. But the choice is yours. You still have a born in the USA choice here to make, right?
Correct.
So he goes on to say, I guess you don't own your body anymore in this society. If you want to work in the society, I guess they made the rules of what goes in your body and what you do. Well, that's not exactly so. You're choosing to work for a league that is clearly the entertainment business. You were born with a gift and you worked hard to maximize your gift.
Cultivated.
Yes. But you were born with a gift that many people will pay lots of money to watch you perform with because they couldn't do it. And they're in awe of your gift. So because of that, you can make lots of money. You can make $32 million this year, but you have to work within the confines of the structure of the league.
Right.
And the league is now under grave threat from various strains of COVID now. Delta, whatever the new strains are, and they're probably going to be more.
And they're mutating by the second.
By the second, they're mutating, and they are a threat to your workplace because at any moment you could have an outbreak that could derail the Golden State Warriors, right? It's the product they're trying to protect. They're obviously trying to protect you, but way beyond you, it's the product of professional basketball. The National Basketball Association is just trying to stay in business because it's not that easy right now.
No.
We keep seeing one after another in the NFL because they're not in the bubble situation they were a year ago. We see every week 3 or 4 players for each team, coaches, entire coaching staffs are derailed. They're out because of COVID. So the NBA is saying, well, we know our best way to stay afloat, to stay in business, where we can actually have fans in the stands, is we have to have COVID protocols that require you to be vaccinated. Correct?
Yes.
So it's way beyond being forced to. It's your workplace.
Now, as we mentioned, Kyrie Irving was in the building. In fact, he was sitting courtside. There does seem to be a fair amount of pushback right now on New York City's vaccine policy and the bizarre loopholes that players, fans, and everyone in between have pointed out. Here was Kyrie's teammate Kevin Durant on, let's say, the unique situation.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand it at all. I mean, it's a few people in our arena that's unvaxxed, right? Like, they lifted all of that in our arena, right? So I don't get it. At this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point to flex their authority. But, everybody out here looking for attention, and that's what I feel like the mayor wants right now, some attention,
I like that jacket KD's wearing. By the way, we welcome in now the host of this show, NBA Today, Malika Andrews, who's live with us from New York City. So, Malika, you were there on the sidelines for yesterday's game. Can you walk us through how Kyrie ended up there sitting courtside and what went into all of that?
Yeah, so George, remember, key to NYC was the overruling law in New York City, and that meant that vaccines were required for anyone who was going into Barclays Center, right? But then that was repealed in the last couple of weeks. So now what is keeping Kyrie Irving from playing in Barclays Center is a private sector mandate that says that employees in New York who are working in New York, they must be vaccinated. So Kyrie Irving is able to be in Barclays Center. He's able to roam around. He was in the locker room at halftime, but he was sitting not on the bench where he would be as an employer, but in his own season tickets that he bought when he first became a Brooklyn Net. So you can see him there with his wife. His sister was with him. I caught up with him for a couple of moments. We chatted. He was in good spirits, and the overwhelming feeling around the organization is eventually Kyrie Irving is going to be able to play in Barclays Center, but that hasn't happened yet. So for now, he's sitting in his own seats. And you heard Kevin Durant. They all think it's a little bit silly, and the visual optics here, it does seem a little bit off that unvaccinated players who are visiting can come and play, but Kyrie Irving can't because of this mandate.
After months of pressure, CBS 2 has learned Mayor Eric Adams plans to exempt athletes and performers from the city's workplace vaccine mandate.
That means Nets fans could soon see Kyrie Irving play in home games. Good news for Mets and Yankee fans as well. CBS 2's John Diaz live at Citi Field, where Mayor Adams will hold a press conference later this morning. John?
Chris and Mayor, good morning to both of you. Well, this is a major shift from what Mayor Eric Adams had been promising since really he took office in January, that he would not be changing up, dropping this workplace vaccine mandate, even when it comes to star athletes.
Baseball, basketball, businesses, all of those things, they have to wait until that layer comes.
That was Mayor Eric Adams on Tuesday when he announced this city will soon roll back mask mandates for toddlers in school and daycare settings. But while he has been rolling back more obvious restrictions, today it's expected he will make a surprising shift. Sources say he will exempt performers and athletes, including Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving, from the city's workplace vaccine mandate, even after saying all of this.
I want Kyrie on the court. I would do anything to get that ring. So badly I want it. But there's so much at stake here. The rule was put in place. To start changing it now, I think it would send mixed messages.
Adams has flip-flopped on the vaccine rules made by the de Blasio administration because of a loophole which allowed visiting players and performers to go on even if they are unvaccinated. We have learned the new rule will take effect immediately, meaning all unvaccinated athletes in New York City may be allowed back in the game, including Kyrie Irving in the next home game on Sunday.
I'm super happy. Yes, what?
Good for Kyrie, though. He needs to play.
But the mayor's decision already coming with plenty of blowback, some accusing him of playing favoritism toward athletes.
Obviously, it's not great to bend the rules for anyone, but I think he's probably getting a ton of pressure from these guys. You got to fill this building.
The new rule leaves behind unvaccinated city employees and workers, teachers and first responders who still need the vaccine to work. Many hosted rallies and protests to fight the vaccine mandate, but were unsuccessful, and nearly 1,500 people were fired for not having the vaccine.
Now, this all comes as Major League Baseball is getting ready to start its new season. So that's probably most likely why Mayor Eric Adams will be making this formal announcement here at Citi Field later on today. Of course, we'll let you know what he does say. But for now, we are live this morning from Citi Field. John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
Tough choices take a tough person to be able to make them. And today, the decision we're not making it loosely, haphazardly. We're not doing it because they're precious to do it. We're doing it because the city has to function. We're leading the entire country, for the most part, in unemployment. We're seeing unbelievable vacancies in our business district. Everyday men and women that are standing right here is dependent on our economy turning around so they can provide for their families. Then we have to have vaccination rules to make sure that we don't close down the city again. Today I signed Emergency Executive Order 62, expanding the performance exemption to private employer mandates. This is about putting New York City-based performers on a level playing field. It's unimaginable. We were treating our performers differently because they lived and played for home teams. It's not acceptable. This exemption has been putting our sports teams at a self-imposed competitive disadvantage. But this new order would help boost our economy. Now, before I go on, let's be clear about this. I've said it and I will continue to say, all of us should be vaccinated, even our players. We will continue to promote vaccinations and booster shots.
Well, Knicks first, New York always. And so for me, I'm very, very happy that Kyrie Irving is going to be on the basketball court. I'm ecstatic, mind you, because his absence would have cost the Brooklyn Nets a championship. I firmly believe that. And so the fact that he gets to play, I'm very, very happy. The mandate was bogus. Mayor Adams should have lifted this months ago. I don't care what he says. The Bill de Blasio administration is no longer in office. Mayor Adams is. And it should not have taken this long, because the second that fans were allowed to come into the arena unvaccinated, and even the player himself could come and sit in the stands unvaccinated, then Kyrie Irving should have been allowed to play, particularly when visitors could come to the Barclays Center, as Mayor Adams just articulated, and they could perform. It didn't need to take this long. And as far as I'm concerned, it was a dereliction of duty up to this point that it wasn't changed. He is no hero. He is no heroine. He put himself above the team, which is entirely his right. And it's understandable, because we're talking about injecting something into your body, which we all understand. But at the end of the day, that don't make him no damn hero, because he's not. He was willing to leave the Brooklyn Nets hanging, if necessary, willing to jeopardize their championship hopes, if necessary, because of his individual, isolated choice at the expense of his entire organization. And if that's somebody's definition of a hero, I'll just say it damn sure ain't mine. And that's where I stand with it, and I ain't backing up one bit from that position.
Right, Stephen A. So obviously this rule was ill-written from the start. The execution of it was very odd, very bizarre. And so getting rid of it makes common sense, as well as great for the game of the basketball in the NBA.
We agree.
I'm no longer a New York City resident. If I was, I would be scratching my head a little bit about the mayor 2 days ago saying one thing and then 2 days later completely reversing course. It actually was less than that. But, you know, that's what politicians do. So that's fine.
Old CDC in 2013, there are 158 injuries. that are suspected to be vaccine injuries. Only 38 of those have been studied, and almost most of those, it was positive. It was, yeah, this is a vaccine injury. The other 120, whatever, and I'm not doing the math in my head, but the others have never been studied. The CDC's job is to study them, and yet it never studied them. And that was purposeful. And I'm not saying that out of speculation. I'm saying that because I've seen the emails. And CDC deliberately derailed any study on that. And if somebody does, independent scientist does do a study, they can't get it published. The scientific publishers will not publish a study that is critical of vaccines. So we need to change that taboo. And that's one of the things Jay Bhattacharya is doing at NIH, is we're going to remove the taboo about talking about this issue. And we're going to be honest with the American public.
It's pretty clear from the VAERS, the self-reporting vaccine injury system, federal system, that vaccine injuries with the COVID vax jumped to multiples of what had been reported before.
There were more injuries reported from VAERS by the COVID vaccine than all other vaccines put together for the past 36 years.
Do you think the COVID, net, as we say in business, just kidding, do you think overall the COVID vax killed more than it saved?
My opinion about that is irrelevant. What we're going to try to do is make that science available so the public can look at the science.
Yeah.
And I would not say one way or the other. And the truth is, I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because the studies that were done by my agency were substandard, and they were not designed to answer that question. And there's been a lot of obfuscation about covering up, as you know, about suppressing any kind of discussion of vaccine injuries. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg publicly said that he was ordered by the White House to suppress anybody on his platform, on Facebook or Instagram, who mentioned vaccine injuries. Oh, he was ordered by the Biden administration to, and he said, I was stunned. I was being ordered by the federal government to deny facts. Anybody can look him up on YouTube saying that. So, and we know that too, because I sued the Biden administration and we got all this discovery documents that show that he was 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to uphold the Constitution. He opened up a group in the White House whose job it was to suppress any dissent about, this government policy. And I was the first person that they went after. 37 hours after he took that oath, they were telling Facebook to take me off of Instagram, which Facebook did. I had almost 1 million followers, and there was no vaccine misinformation on there. I asked Facebook again and again, show me one fact I got wrong. Everything I put on there that, was vaccine related was cited and sourced to government databases or to peer-reviewed publications. And, but they were, it wasn't misinformation. The word, in fact, they had to invent a new word, which is because Facebook was saying to the White House, this isn't misinformation, it's actually true. And the White House said, well, it's malinformation. Malinformation, this is an Orwellian kind of construct. And, malinformation is information that is factually true, but it is nevertheless inconvenient for the government. And they just said, all the people who are now running this agency were censored.